Boys Lie. Boys Lie.
Boys Lie.
Boys Lie, y'all.
Boys Lie.
Them boys, they be lying.
Boys Lie.
Hi, I'm Tori.
And I'm Leah.
And I'm Brett.
And welcome back to the Boys Lie podcast.
Podcast where we talk about the craziest relationship stories you've ever heard, pop culture, and the piping hot tea of our lives.
So buckle up, enjoy the ride, and remember that Boys Lie.
I loved that. I also didn't know you guys had like a planned intro, and I thought you guys were just like doing improv. I was like, that was good.
Sometimes when I
Thanks.
do it, I feel like schizophrenic or something.
No, we've done it so many times, and sometimes we still mess up.
No, it's cool. I got to see it in real time.
So, you guys, I asked Brett to do some charity work and come on this podcast.
That was also such a funny DM. They like, that's how they asked me to come on the podcast. It's like, do you want to do charity work? And I'm like, yeah, I love giving back. Like, of course.
Did you have you ever heard of like Boys Lie before we like reached out to you? You can be totally honest.
Well, yes, I have actually before. And then I've heard of them before my friend Becca came on Boys Lie.
Yeah, she was awesome.
Like, I feel like you guys have always like been around to me. Like, it makes sense. And do you guys work with like Madeleine Penn?
Oh, we did like in the earlier years.
And I'm
for
like
sure.
obsessed with her.
Me too.
'Cause I used to watch Riverdale.
Oh, same.
And I like watched it for like 3 seasons too far.
Yeah.
Where everyone else dropped off. And I'm like, no, I actually think it's going to get better. It didn't. Yeah. It didn't. And then I eventually dropped off because I'm like, what? Like, I don't understand what's going on.
But she was like the best part in it,
exactly.
for sure.
And she was always repping Boys Lie. And so I'm like, yeah, Boys Lie.
Once it got like witchy and stuff, that's where I was like,
Yeah.
I don't know. I thought this was like high school vibes.
Yeah, it was like teen drama. And then there was like Demogorgons.
Yeah.
And then the jingle jangle, the drug that they were doing.
Wait, what?
Yeah.
What do you mean the jingle jangle?
It was like the like drug that they were passing around town was called Jingle Jangle.
Oh.
And I was watching that like with my full heart. Like I was like fully, and I was like, yes, Jingle Jangle. I was like, it's scary. It's scary.
I feel like that's how mushrooms are these days. One of our friends was talking about that too. Like, it's not like cocaine anymore. I feel like everyone in the streets, it's mushrooms.
It's the drug of choice.
Well, I also feel like if you say microdose in Los Angeles, like no matter what you're talking about, people are like so into it. Yeah. Like my sister works for this company that's like doing like Accutane, and she was like, you can even like microdose it. I'm like, if you literally say like microdose anything, I'm like,
microdose Accutane?
well, yeah, like of course. Yeah, like
I would microdose
Accutane.
Yeah, like I would do that
half
for
dose.
sure.
Great. Yeah, that's easy. It's not scary anymore.
But I've heard like it does like really kind of make your skin flake off, and I don't want to do that, but I do want clear skin for life.
Yeah.
I would microdose Accutane.
It was like kind of offensive because my sister's like, oh my god, you should get on Accutane, and I like feel like pretty decent about my skin.
Your skin's
and I was,
great.
Thank you. My sister like doesn't agree, I guess.
But she's trying to sell it to you, right?
Yeah,
'Cause
exactly.
she works
She's
for
a
Accutane,
businesswoman.
yeah. Okay, wait. Can we rewind for a second? Because before we started recording, I asked you where you're from, and you grew up in Iowa. When did you move here?
I moved here 5 years ago.
Same.
Really?
No.
6 years ago.
There you go.
We were both in San Diego for like 2 years before that. You were there longer.
Yeah.
Do you guys like San Diego?
No.
I liked it.
Okay.
Do you?
I just am like, I have such a problem with shitting on other places that other people like actually live and reside. But like, I'm just like, if you're gonna live in San Diego, just like move to LA.
Yeah. Well, that's why we did.
It's like you guys are a prime example. Like, just move to LA.
I feel like San Diego's where you like settle down.
Yeah.
Like you're not in a fast-paced environment. You're not with the LA folk. You know what I mean?
Well, also like San Diego is great, but I just have like a really hard time like wrapping my head around the idea of like people have different like hopes and dreams than I do.
Right.
And I feel like we all like want the same thing. So I'm like, why would you live in San Diego when like LA is so much better? And then I'm like, oh wait, people actually like do different things than I do.
But like, what do they do?
I don't know, but that's a really good point. Like, what do you do in San Diego?
I know what we did, and we were miserable there.
Okay, you guys were miserable for 2 years.
Well, we were working 2 jobs. We were creating Boys Lie, and we were also working at a private label manufacturer as like sales reps.
And Boys Lie like was failing.
Okay. And now look at it.
Yeah, I know. But we were makeup beforehand, and we thought we were going to be the next Kylie Jenner coming from fucking Radnor, Pennsylvania. I don't really know what we were.
You still can be. Like, it's not too late.
Who knows? Maybe
You're just
one
taking,
day.
like the long route. Do you still use the makeup products?
I do actually.
Okay.
And you're going to think this is disgusting, and it is.
You're not?
It's very old, okay? But it's an eyeshadow palette. And
Leah,
it's still...
You just uncluttered your closet. It's time to get rid of the cosmetic bag.
But I don't want to get rid of it. I don't always use it, but I look at it, I'm like, and I'm just reminded of where we were and where we are now.
Yeah, there's sentimental value for it.
Okay, wait. So when you moved here, because you said you're friends with Becca Moore, like how did you... This is going to sound crazy, but like how did you meet friends here? Because I feel like it's a very hard place to find people and find friends that are genuine and not like trying to like use you for something.
No, it was like horrible for like the first like 3 to 4 years. I also moved here like 5 months before COVID, so that was like
Oh my
horrible.
God.
And I had like one friend, and then I went home for like 3 months for COVID, and then I came back, and I was doing Instacart full time, like as an Instacart driver, which like I have nothing but like love and respect for people who do that because that was horrible.
I'm sure it's hard.
And people are so mean, like with
Yeah.
substitutions. I'm like, hey, like they don't have like your wheat thins in a smaller box. Like I'm just gonna get it for you in like a family size box. They're like, what the fuck is wrong? Like they would be like so mean to me, and I'm like,
Aw.
what do you want from me?
We've dealt with that stuff too, like with customer service during holiday time.
Yeah.
It was like really fucking gnarly. There was one year where someone didn't get their hoodie or something, and what did they say to us?
They emailed us. They said, "Move your asses, you lazy fucks."
I think I should put that on a swetshirt.
Move your
You
asses, you
should.
lazy
That would be. I would
fucks.
buy that out.
I think we responded. We're like, we're so sorry for this experience.
We're like, we're trying, Susie. It's hard.
Wow.
Okay, back to the friends. So you were working at Instacart.
Yeah, and then like I got a job at like a gym, and so I like made a lot of friends through that. And then I like kind of started getting into social media, and then like became friends with some like horrible people.
Yeah.
But then I didn't know in the time that these were like horrible people and like were actually kind of draining the life out of me until like after I got out of it. And now like looking back at it, like my friends who were friends with me while I was friends with some of these people were like, what were you doing? I'm like, I don't know.
I think for us, we thought that everyone had like a genuine intention at heart, and
Yeah.
maybe it's just growing up in a different state, and yeah, we got fucked.
Yeah.
And like I feel like it's something about LA, or I don't know if something's in the water, but I feel like they don't show their true wackiness until like a couple months later, and then
Yeah.
you're like, what the?
And then they hate on each other and then go back to being friends with each other.
Yeah.
Like, it's really
Yeah,
confusing.
it's
really
actually like
weird.
insane. And I think like adding in like the social media presence of it all, like people like the second they get like an ounce of fame are just like so different. And then that's also, you don't know like how they're going to act until it happens. And then it's too late.
Too late.
But I like my friends that were like perfect, like zero bad things to say about them. But again, it took about like 4 years
Yeah.
to find them. But a lot of my friends do social media, but I love that like it's not their entire identity.
Right.
And it seems like more of like a job to them, because I feel like the people who like make it their entire identity are like insufferable.
Yeah.
And like the content, like brains, like content, like everything is like turning everything into content. I'm like, I can't like be around that constantly. And I actually like lived with someone for a while who, like, I was like so depressed, but like I'm just like, I'm fine now, like let's chill so we can talk about it. But like this person would be like, come on, like let's make a video, and then I would be like making content for this person's page.
Right, and you didn't want to be doing
Yeah, I was
it.
like, I don't even want to be making a video, let alone you're posting it on your page and I'm coming up with the idea.
And you're doing more work. Like,
that I feel that's like stressful, and it's hard because you don't want to be like, I don't want to be in your fucking stupid little video.
Yeah.
Like you can't say that.
No, exactly.
they take advantage of us nice folk.
I know, it's fucked up, and I still like really can't put my foot down in like any situation, which is good.
Neither can we.
And I'm like living through it.
We're just like getting to this tier point where we're like, it's boundary city right now.
Yeah.
We're learning how to say no, and I think like the reason I also asked you about the friend thing too is because like now Tori and I talk about this all the time. We've talked about it millions of times on the podcast too, but it's like we always struggle with, are these people trying to be our friends because they like Tori and Leah, or do they want to be our friends because they want free clothes?
Yeah.
And so I think like learning to say no and putting your foot down but it's also really hard to do that. When someone's like, hey, I love these sets, can you send me 5 of them? It's just like, buy it.
And then they're like walking billboards for the brand too. So you're like, oh, I'm ramped up. And then you realize that they actually have no buying power. They just have a huge audience. And then they just keep suckering you for more shit.
Yeah.
It's a really shitty feeling though, to feel used.
You really like can never, well, actually I'm like super aware of people. And so like the second I can tell like it shifts a little bit and someone like wants something from me, I just like stop like responding to them.
Yeah, that's actually that's probably the healthiest way to do it, because then you don't have to be mean and say I don't want to do this.
Exactly.
You just ghost them.
But then people are like, oh, you're a bad friend. But it will be people who are like, I'm like, I don't need you. Like you're okay. You're gonna be fine.
It's hard out here.
It doesn't pay to be fucking nice out here.
Truly. I know. Let's just be like monsters. Like honestly, like I'm okay with like being horrible now.
But you gotta stand your own, and like I
Yeah.
think that like again, like we're not from here, and none of us are, and so like it is interesting coming out here and like learning how to navigate the LA waters.
Yeah.
We love it here.
Exactly. No, it's perfect.
It's
I would
perfect.
recommend
It's
anyone
legit.
moved out here. You just have to commit like 4 years before it like you
Yeah.
start reaping the benefits.
And expect to not have any money.
Yeah. Uh-huh.
That's what people like ask me about, like just like living in LA and like the finances, and I'm like, I think you just get to a point where it's like, yeah, like everything's so expensive, but like there's literally nothing I can like do about it.
But do you ever think, how the fuck are people affording all this shit? Like, where are they getting the money? I'm like, I know you don't have a job. How are you decked out in designer? Like, I don't get it.
It's like, I feel like a few people I've like recently clocked, I'm like, oh my God, your parents are helping you out. But like, you're just like really like keeping that hush hush.
Or they're running around with like Bottega, Frada, you know what I mean?
Yeah, exactly.
Which I support, by the way.
Yeah, true. Get your fake bag if you need it, honestly.
Yeah, why not? No one will ever know.
Truly.
You know, they're not going to look at you and be like, that's fake.
Yeah.
Could you imagine? That would be so rude.
People might look at me and think that's fake, but like probably because it looks really fake.
You're like buying it off like the streets of New
York,
York where
yeah.
it's like
Like,
laid
not even
across like a tarp.
I actually did do that once with a Louis Vuitton wallet, and I thought it looked so
It
real.
probably was like one of those like colored like Murakami Louis Vuittons where
No,
it like
it
has like a
actually
different
was.
shape instead of like the actual.
Yeah,
That's
it
so
was
funny.
that. I think I actually like did that like 2 years ago.
Anyways,
Should we hop into story time?
let's do it.
Okay.
If you guys have a story you'd like to share on the Boys Lie podcast, please submit via boyslieofficial.com. And if your story gets chosen to be read on the podcast, you get a free Boys Lie sweatsuit.
Should I start this week?
Yeah, go for it, girly.
Okay. All right, here's the first story, you guys. Started a new job this spring in healthcare and would frequently see a sexy older man around the hospital.
Off to a great start.
Yeah, I'm already thinking Grey's Anatomy.
Yep.
He is in an area of the hospital that really has no business interacting with my unit, but he introduced himself a short time after I started, and we would chat in passing, but then he found me on Teams. And for those who don't know what Teams is, it's like a Google chat, like a Slack. You use it for your work. Have you guys heard of it?
Yeah. It's like
Okay, never mind.
loosely.
So he found her on Teams and then asked her out on Teams for coffee. Over the course of the few months we had coffee, would meet for lunch and have lunch with other people from our center. I ended up giving him my number when he asked me out for a bite and drinks on a Friday night. 3 drinks and an appetizer and lots of sexual innuendos. He casually asked me if I was seeing anyone, and I, thinking I was being cute and flirty, said, well, isn't this a date? He proceeded to say that he's married and propositioned for me to have extramarital affairs with him, as he was too attracted to me to not explore what we had. At no point over 3 to 4 months had he mentioned a wife or even wore a ring. I said to him that was not what was going to happen here today. However, because I love to try to figure out where men get the audacity, I said, why are you still with this woman if you're so unhappy? And where does your wife think you are? He shared that they have not slept in the same bed for 10 years or had sex in 2 months. And
10 years?
10 years.
That's crazy.
Whoa, Daddy Doctor needs to figure it the fuck out.
But some people, there was a woman who came on, I forget who, she's like a celebrity. She was saying the secret to a healthy marriage is to sleep in separate bedrooms, which I was like,
I kindly disagree.
right.
Yeah, what? I feel like that's like the only reason I want to get married is to like share a bed with someone. Like everything else sucks, but it's like, hey, we can like,
Cuddle.
yeah, exactly.
And also, like, when are you having sex then? If you're sleeping in separate bedrooms.
You really have to like be intentional about it. Like, hey, you want to like spend the night in my room
Yeah, do you want
tonight?
to come to my room tonight?
Maybe you could do bunk beds even. Like, I feel like that's more intimate because you're in the same room, different bed.
Is he gay?
I don't think so. So she says, I have a name that, if shortened, is the same as one of his male coworkers. So he told his wife that he was out with blank. Then he paid the bill in cash.
Hot.
I ended up chugging my beer and told him to consider therapy. Now I see him in passing at work and low-key die of awkwardness, but wish she was the one who was actually embarrassed. But to think I could have put a stain on my reputation for that loser. Boys and men lie.
This is like a scene out of Grey's Anatomy or something.
I feel like if you're married, it should be illegal to not wear your ring.
Yeah, like what are you taking your ring off for?
Right. I mean, clearly to have sex with her.
I do think it's weird if like your coworkers of multiple months like don't know that you're married. Like I'd be so pissed if I was like married to someone and no one at work like knew I existed. I'd be like, hey.
Divorce immediately.
Yeah, I'm popping in. I'm showing up.
Yeah, that's weird. That is really weird. That's a good point.
Do you know what also is interesting? Do you guys like carry cash with you ever?
No, that's why I think it's hot when like he paid in cash because I'm like I literally have like an empty clip.
empty money clip.
Yeah.
Sus City though, she's like, oh, it's sus. He paid in cash, so it wouldn't be on the credit card bill. But like, what?
Please tell me you guys both use Apple Pay.
I do.
Yeah.
Okay, I just like can't like deal with people who don't anymore. It just pisses me off. People were so weird about Venmo for so long.
I'm weird about Venmo.
Are you?
But do you want to know why?
Yes,
So
I
when
do really.
I was in college. I was one of the people who literally got hacked, and my Venmo account. Someone tried to steal all my monies in my bank account.
Okay, I would have trust issues. If that
Yeah.
happened to
So
me,
then I was like Cash App, and then I was like, oh, this is a really weird idea.
I feel like Cash App is like a little sketch.
No, I feel that too, and I don't know why, but there's just like kind of like a sketchy undertone.
There's an undertone of sketch. Yeah, I agree. I don't know what it is. I think it's just like the way the app is set up.
It feels like shady as hell for some reason. Like I'm like, if someone's like, "Can you Cash App me?" I'm like, I don't trust you. Like, actually, like, I'm not paying you any money, actually, and I'm walking.
I will say Venmo used to be hilarious though for the comments. Like it's kind of like Twitter for like exchanging
Yeah.
cash.
Well, a lot of people caught their person cheating on them on Venmo too.
That's why we're paying cash.
Yeah.
That's why we're paying cash.
So be
Damn.
careful out there. Turn off your Venmo. Make it private.
Oh my god, we caught an employee stealing from us via Venmo as well. Remember Alex found it like through the
yeah.
commentary of it like being exchanged.
Yeah.
Wait, how was she stealing from you through
Oh,
Venmo?
God.
She was like part of our accounting team when it was really just her, and like
Yeah.
she was supposed to be doing like all the expensing, like reporting and whatnot through Concur so that we could be like, oh, these are where these expenses went to.
Yeah.
And she stole around like $50,000.
That's not bad. Like 50K.
Terrible time.
Fucking hey.
Yeah.
You guys don't need 50K. Come on, that's
We do. We would take that 50K back happily.
that's so crazy. Like, I feel like if you're gonna steal from a company, it's like do it in like 100.
No, Leah and I also were like kind of bad with that too. Like she bought her mom a fence. Like
It's a business expense. Like
She bought her
obviously.
sister a Southwest flight.
she bought herself during a work day a trip to the spa in Santa Monica.
Oh, yeah.
That's so insane.
She'd also text the team in the morning and be like, hey, does anyone want Starbucks? And we'd be like, me. And then she would be like, okay, everyone Venmo me, but she'd be using her company card.
Oh
like,
my
We
God.
would be paying her for the coffee that she was purchasing off of the company card.
We really got used and abused.
That is like horrible. That reminds me of, this pisses me off, is when people, more so in college, because like last time more of my friends like make their own money now, God willing, like, but when people would like, their parents would pay for everything in college, and then they would like get the Uber, and they're like, okay, Venmo me this much, and I'm like, you are profiting off
Yeah,
of
like,
me.
literally,
like
like-
you have like a side business. Like this is like,
That is fucked up.
I totally agree. I think that's really fucked up.
and it, again, it'd be like, can you Venmo me $4? I'm like, your parents are paying for everything. You're fine.
You're a bitch.
They were profiting though, and I bet you their parents had no idea.
Yeah, truly.
Should I jump into next?
Yeah.
All right. When I was 24 and freshly out of an 8-year-long relationship, I was going through my hoe phase and dating every red flag man that I could get my hands on. I was extremely insecure about dating, having not had any practice during the last 8 formative years of my life, so I pretty much took any form of male validation that I could get. I was making my way through dating apps and matched with this 30-year-old man whose profile said, quote unquote, recently divorced.
That's not somebody who I would just be like, oh, I want him.
Also, like, don't put that on your dating profile.
At least he's being
Like,
honest.
Yeah, truly. He's laying it all out there.
It really
Some
is.
people, though, like, are attracted to, like, the sus and the toxicity. Like, some
Yeah.
people are, like, comfortable in that
Yeah.
shit.
Sure.
So, like, I mean, I don't feel her entirely, but, like, I feel her.
Yeah.
I decided this would be a fun little challenge and wanted to get involved in all the drama.
Fun
Exactly.
little challenge is insane.
And then she goes, however, I was not prepared for how dramatic the first meeting of him would actually be. When I got to his house, he opened the door fully naked.
Oh. Okay.
Get right into it.
What would you guys do if somebody that you're going on a date with opened the door and they're naked?
I think I just like, oh.
Would you go inside?
I would probably be like, are you going to put clothes on
Yeah,
or
like-
what?
First time meeting off dating app, I would be like schizophrenic.
Yeah.
Yeah, no.
I was initially taken fully off guard, but I figured I'd just go with it. And then he proceeded to give me a full-on tour of his house while he was completely naked. Each room was still filled with all of his ex-wife's stuff, and he had family pictures of them everywhere. I asked him if him and his wife were actually divorced, and he went on to explain that they're still technically married, but separated. We got into the living room in his house, and there's this huge bay window in this room, and it was completely smashed out with glass shards everywhere. Obviously, I was like, what the fuck is this? And he explained that his ex-wife had recently gone through a mental breakdown and she was admitted to a psych ward. At this point, I was trying to figure out whether or not to believe him, but decided to say fuck it, and we ended up hooking up. I ended up hooking up with him anyways.
I mean, he's already naked. Like, at that point, like,
Actually, I want to know, was he hard when he opened the door and gave the entire house tour?
I honestly would assume yes.
I'm just...
Like, I'm assuming yes.
I woke up feeling uneasy, so I left before he woke up. He texted me later that day and said that I was too good for him, and he blocked me on everything, and I never heard from him again.
So maybe he really wasn't divorced and just wanted to fuck a random stranger while his psychotic wife was out of town.
I'm still envisioning him like with his cock fully like erect and
Yeah.
him just going room to room like.
But like no sane person who you've, especially somebody that you've never met, would ever open up the door naked on a first date.
Also, here's what's so, like, if I was going on a first date with someone and they invited me over to their house, I'd be like, maybe we go to dinner.
Yeah.
Like, I think that already is, like, crazy. And I'm like, why can't he go out in public with her?
I feel like first date should be like a cup of coffee because then at least you have a window of like maybe we exit this or
Yeah.
like lunch.
Yeah, and then, like, the, like, cardboard. Also, that's, like, so, like, white man anger. Like I'm like I know you did that. Like
Yeah. Let me show you around my house.
Butt ass naked.
all right, y'all. This is I say the name and also the email and also the sizing preference and mailing address. All right. Back in college, I was dating a guy who lived in my college town but had graduated a few years earlier. We'll call him Bobby. He was your typical CU Boulder frat boy, and there were so many red flags that I chose to ignore, such as being extremely secretive about his phone, like custom alphanumeric iPhone password secretive. Wait,
What does that mean?
alphanumeric.
Alphanumeric.
I don't know what that means.
I've never-
Like, I think it's more than 4 numbers. Like, it's, you know how like usually people.
Oh, or is it? Oh, it's
and letters.
I was gonna
It's
say
like a
I know
long-
alpha and I know numeric. So letters and numbers.
So it's like a long password.
That's like people who
That's
do that. I'm like, what are you
insane.
fucking hiding? If you even if you have like 6, like I'm still like I'm like still sketched
I can't
out
even
by
remember
you.
what I had for breakfast. If I was
Yeah.
wasted, I'm not getting into my phone.
No, my best friend has like the 6 whatever, and she
Yeah.
like tells it to me every single time. I'm like, change the music and or whatever, and I'm like, I will never remember this. Anyways, Bobby would frequently go to his friend's house and forget his phone charger or go on camping trips with no service for a weekend. Very suspicious. We dated off and on for about a year, but I could never fully commit to him because in my gut, I knew he was hiding something. One day we were in the car on our way to the mall. It was an average day and nothing was unusual. Bobby was driving. I was getting frustrated with him because he was trying to search for a song on SoundCloud while driving. Okay, like why is he on SoundCloud? Anyways, he finally got fed up with my complaints and forcefully handed me his phone to search it myself. When he did that, he accidentally closed out of the app, so his phone was open on his lock screen. Lo and behold, right there in plain sight was the last app I ever would have expected, Grindr.
Oh my god.
I was in shock. It took me a second to even process what I was seeing. Bobby looked over and realized what I saw almost instantly and snatched the phone back, but it was too late. I forced him to pull into the first parking lot we saw, and we talked about it. Long story short, he admitted that he'd been cheating on me with men from both Grindr and Tinder, and his sexuality was something he was struggling with his entire life, as his father was very homophobic. I was one of only a handful of people that knew I had a lot of conflicting emotions because he did betray me, which is unforgivable. However, I had sympathy for him for what he was going through. I can't imagine how hard it would be to live like that. I promised him that I wouldn't expose him or anything. I also told him that if he needed someone to talk to, I would try to be there for him. Unfortunately, despite everything, the only talking he was interested in were late night booty calls. He continued to hit me up every so often for the next 2 years or so. 2 years is insane. Okay. I ended up blocking him on social media after a while, and we have had no contact for about 6 months after that. Flash forward to present day, aka about 2 months ago, a friend of mine sent me a screenshot of Bobby's Grindr profile. It was under a fake name, but 100% him. My friend was actually been messaging him for a while before he realized who it was. We had a good laugh about it, as friends do, and I decided to unblock his Instagram and see what he's been up to. Once again, I was shocked. The most recent picture was an engagement post
Oh my god. Oh my god.
of him and another woman. And the caption mentioned being together for 2 years.
Oh my god. And he's been hitting her up for the past 2 years too at the
Yeah.
same time. Oh,
I was sick to my son, which I'm like, if you're I was gonna say, if you're gay, like be gay.
Yeah.
But the fact that he's with a woman, it's like, okay, whatever still. But the fact that he's also like cheating on the woman with another girl, but he also is into guys. I'm like, pick like one.
Are the girls a cover up?
I don't know, but now they're engaged. Cheers to the happy couple. Truly at a loss for words, he was doing the exact same thing to another woman as he did for me, except this time they're actually engaged. I really couldn't believe he would do this again to someone else, and based on his messages with my friend, he was physically cheating and not just talking. This is the part of the story where I need advice. My instinct is to message his fiance and let her know what he's doing. As a woman, I would want 100% know. I would hope that someone would tell me if my fiance was cheating on me before I married him. I mean, yeah, if I was in the situation.
sure.
However, I do not want to out him. Regardless of what he's doing, I think exposing someone's sexuality before they're ready is wrong. I don't know this woman at all and I have no idea how she would react. She deserves to know, but I also don't want to ruin Bobby's life. Do I take a risk and message her? Do I message her only about him hitting me up years ago, even though we never met up? They were definitely together and it's definitely still cheating in my eyes. Or do I say nothing and mind my own business? I'm so conflicted and feel guilty. Please help.
Say something. Say something. Say something.
I personally think she should say something to him first.
Ooh.
Because I think, like, again, like, exposing someone's sexuality is such, like, a touchy thing. And I think it would just be a lot for this girl to process all at once, where it's like, okay, not only is my fiance cheating on me, but also he's into men.
Yeah.
And I feel like she should go to him and be like, look, I saw your Instagram post. Like, I think you should tell her because I think she deserves to know. And like, you also are cheating on her in multiple ways.
I mean, I literally went through like this exact same thing, and with a guy that I met in Boulder, and it was my senior year, and we dated for like 8 or 9 months, and then we graduated, and it was the summertime, and I just was like, I'm over this relationship. I need to be done. I thought we broke up amicably. I can never say this word. Amicably.
That word is so like impressive whenever someone
I
says
can't
that.
say it right. Amicably.
You got it.
Yeah,
Okay.
that was
Did it.
good.
Gold star, Leah.
Anyways, fast forward to December, so after the summer after I broke up with him, and I'm still like in one class, I'm doing online work, and I needed to use Google Chrome to do like a presentation, and I never ever used Google Chrome, but he would use my computer sometimes when we were together. So like, so when I logged into Google Chrome, I went to my email and it logged into his email, and at the top of the email was like a subject line like pee in my butt or something, and I was like what is this? And
Pee in my butt is hilarious.
No, it was
by the
crazy.
way.
It was crazy times.
at this moment when I see this, we had been broken up for like 4 months. I had blocked him because he was acting like a psychopath, but then I had found out that he had been cheating on me the entire time we were together in Boulder with men from Craigslist.
From Craigslist?
Even down the street from our parents' house growing
even
up.
when he was in Philly with me, he would leave my house. Like, I don't know what he was doing, whatever, but he would also leave my house in Boulder, walk across the street, and meet somebody literally across the street from my house. I also didn't want to out him. Like, I didn't, and I didn't know what to do because I found out that my boyfriend had been cheating on me the entire time. And also I had to go get to the doctor, get everything tested. And so I'm like, what do I do? And I told like my friends, like my closest friends, what happened. What he said was really interesting because it reminded me kind of this story. And at first he was like, I really want to have a family, Lee. Like, you know that like I want to get married, I want to have kids. I'm like, but you can do that still.
Yeah.
If you are gay or bi, whatever you are, you can't get married and hide that from them because you're going to be cheating on somebody when you have kids and when you're married. And like, that's just like, that's terrible. Like, you have to figure that out. So like it reminded me of that because it seems like maybe this guy really is actually gay and he's just trying to cover up his feelings. But it's really tricky because I understand what she means when she's like, I don't want to out him because like you said, sexuality is really like it's a tricky place to navigate and you don't want to hurt somebody either.
Well, that's why I think that she should talk to him because I think she could say something like this where it's like, I get sexuality is a spectrum. It's confusing, but also like, I need you to know the situation that you're putting this woman in. And it's like, that's so unfair. And also like, you can be bi and like be like, okay, I'm attracted to men, but like, I do really like you and I want to like start a family with you.
But he's also cheating.
Yeah. I think navigating those boundaries is hard in general. Like, this is kind of what comes up for me too. If you are bi and you find someone that you're like interested in, you've only been on 1 or 2 dates, do you tell them on like the second date or first date that you're bisexual, or do you keep your sexuality to yourself?
I feel like knowing me, I'd get like one cocktail and I'd be like, by the way, I'm bi.
Yeah, exactly.
It'd
Just
be
like
super
immediately.
easy. But I can understand how like it's not easy for certain people. I like what you said when it comes to like telling him if he blocks you, then I think you should still go to the girl because like I would want to know if I were her. Really bad. I would really want to know.
I would for sure want to know. That's your fucking forever person. There's like a legal matter to that as well. And you don't want to be tied into that as well. Like, you're sharing a bank accounts, you know what I mean? So that's not really chill if it's like this person's also using money to go on dates with other people and they're confused as well.
You could be saving this girl from making the biggest mistake of her life. And it's not because he's gay or bi, it's because he's cheating.
I also feel like if he's not like coming to terms with his sexuality, this will always be an issue.
100%.
And I feel like it's a thing where it's like I don't like, I feel like I'm very fluid with my sexuality, but I feel like I'm so like comfortable with myself that it's like, I feel like if I like end up with a woman and like marry a woman and have kids with a woman, like I feel like I've like explored that and like understand what that's like. But I feel like if you never let yourself explore that like fully, then it's like it will always come up. And then like what if it comes up in like 7 years, they have it like 2 kids, and then it's like, oh wait, I'm actually gay as hell. Like,
that's a huge thing to throw at somebody, especially if they don't know that. Not that it's a bad thing to throw at somebody. For all like, you know, like she could be totally fine with it.
Exactly, yeah.
I think it just, the cheating part is where in my situation and in this situation, I think that's where I like draw the line where I'm like, it's not okay to cheat. And like, if you're going to end up hurting somebody or multiple people, like you got to like you have to figure out a way to like be yourself.
It's also a safety issue. Like that's a whole separate conversation, but like having multiple partners like that, like that's really not okay.
Especially if you're like going to get married, obviously she's going to be like, oh, we're both not fucking other people. But then like if he is continuing to, which also the thing that like is tricky is like the fact that he did this before with a girl too. And now it's like another girl.
I think you need limits. Like I think that's the thing for me. me. Like, I feel like you need a limit of like, okay, so this happened in this first scenario. Fine. Like, you had a learning experience. You're probably gay. Like, whatever it is, you're probably bi. Sure. But like, then say like, okay, I am going to lean into that. That is who I am. This is part of my identity. Don't use that then again as like an excuse as to why not to share with your partner, I guess. Do you know what I mean? Because then for me, it sounds like gaslighting.
Also, don't propose to someone that like you're not fully into, because that's super unfair.
Do you think hiding it, like being on Grindr and like hiding his sexuality, like makes it more fun for him to like go meet up with guys if it's like so secretive?
But then also like keeping up that like secret and lie, like I'm sure is like eating him inside.
Maybe.
And
Is
but
it
if it
though?
isn't,
Is
then
it?
it's
He's
like-
enjoying himself, it sounds like.
He's
He's having
most
good.
fun.
Yeah, he really has like the dream scenario, like
He's got the
engaged
best
to
of
like
both
a woman.
worlds.
He's gonna start a family, also fucking whoever he wants.
He's like having his cake and eating it too.
Yeah,
It sounds
truly.
like he's having a party.
Yeah.
But also like again, like going back to the woman thing, like the fact he's also like cheating on her with like another woman as well.
But then is it well practiced too? Because he knew what to say as to like, oh, well, this is like, I'm not really sure where I'm at and like kind of woes me. Like, I don't know.
Or is he just like literally a sex addict?
I think this girl needs to take action. And I would say first go to the source, go to him. And I also think you can bring it up. Like, I mean, he is cheating and he like sucks for that. But like bring it up in a very like conversational way where it's like, hey, I found out about this. I noticed this. Like, I do think it's like a very tricky situation, but I do think it's very unfair to the woman you are now engaged to.
Being that I went through it myself.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
And you can even say that like, and I know how it made me feel, and like it's eating me up inside having this information now, and I just don't want you to not only hurt yourself but hurt somebody else. So like
Yeah.
I'm just letting you know that I do know this information, and I hope that you make the right decision.
I don't know why this is probably one of my toxic traits that comes to my mind from like the strays that I took in when I was in my dating experience.
Strays.
But confrontation, like men hate confrontation. I'm saying that stereotypically, but
No, you
like
can say that,
in
sorry.
my experience, men hate confrontation. So they rather like just continue on forward with what they're doing than actually admit to say like, I'm in the wrong here.
I do think if you like call men out in like a sensitive way too, like they might like he could just like fold and be like, yeah, you're right. Like this is, and then also could open a conversation where he could like talk to her about that and like have like get that off his chest, even just to one person.
Yeah, like
and
he
then,
needs a person to talk to. It sounds like.
yeah.
I just think like put yourself in the woman who's engaged to his shoes and just think if it were you, like imagine if like years later you ended up getting married and you found out that a person knew and didn't tell you. Like me personally, I'd be like, why the fuck did nobody tell me?
Yeah.
Like why did nobody want to help me? Why did nobody want to let me know or like give me the heads up? Like now I wasted these years of my life and I got hurt by this person. I do feel like she needs to know immediately.
I also feel like if you talk to her about it, like again, if he like doesn't respond well to it, like you're not necessarily exposing him as a gay man, but you're exposing him as a cheater.
Yes.
Yeah.
And like
Yes.
that is something where it's like bottom line, like if someone is cheating on someone you know and you have this information, like that person deserves to know. And if that person who's cheating on them isn't going to tell them, then like it's really open to anyone. Like if you are about to cheat on the person you're dating, just like break up with them.
I
It's
totally
just like,
fucking
why would you
agree.
be in a relationship where you are even like, oh, I want to be with someone else? And
I
like,
don't know.
then break up.
I think I know the answer. I think it's because people get so comfortable in their situation, even with like toxic relationships in general, that they'd rather stay in a comfortable position than change or alter what they're doing. They'd
Yeah.
rather like do the same thing and expect a different result.
We had somebody on our podcast, his name is Gianni, and we were talking about cheating, and he brought up a point which we thought, Tori and I both thought was like super interesting. He was like, men can cheat on women and still be like in love with the woman that they cheated on, but women can't cheat on their man and still be in love with their man.
Yeah.
Do you agree with that?
Yeah. Like I'm not like not me personally, but like every man I know is horrible and like has done horrible things.
Yeah.
But like I don't know, like women just are like
It's so emotional with
Yeah.
women. It's like planned. It's well thought out. It's not just like an oopsie usually most of the time. Like I
Yeah.
feel like you know.
Well, it's also like the physical act is completely different for a woman, right? Like
Yeah.
you're fully have someone in your insides. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? Like I understand why there's like an emotional, so much more of an emotional tie
Yeah.
to women. So I there is a side of me that does semi like agree with that. But I do know I have some friends, especially in college, that were like absolutely savage. Like they really didn't care. So
yeah.
I don't know.
I agree with what he said because I feel like personally, like I couldn't cheat on anybody that I loved but I could on somebody that I didn't love.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? But I do think that men also like are built differently. Like they, you know, they could stick their dick in anything. And again, like you said, like with women, it's much different. So I can understand how like a man might make a mistake and not give a fuck about the person that they hooked up with, but still care about the woman that they're with.
But I'm also like, men can like not put their dick inside of a woman for like 3 seconds. You know,
I
like
know.
they're fine. They're gonna be okay.
Facts.
So they're like, well, it means something. Like you're fine.
doesn't,
like
yeah.
you're good.
I have one that's an interesting point from that podcast too with Gianni. He said that in regards to men cheating on women too, like he's like, there are some girlfriends where it's like, she's such a good girl, I can't be like this like crazy, I guess like dominatrixy type of human.
Yeah.
And then it's like he needs a separate kind of category of woman to be that with, but would never settle down with that character. But like I get confused, I guess, in hearing that, especially from him, because I'm also like, does every guy feel that way? Like they need some type of like 2 types of characters in bed.
But also I'm like, that's what like your 20s are for. That's what like being single's for. Like if you want to be a freak in the sheets, that's completely fine. But like if you're trying to settle down, like you also have to be like, okay, well maybe you're not gonna tie me up. Like but also you will love me and meet my parents. So
Right. And I think you could find somebody who does all the things for you that you need in the bedroom.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
I definitely think test the waters. I think it's really important to do that. Like I realized I'm the most vanilla girl on the planet. I love it.
yeah.
Like get it out of your system.
You guys can still make it work. You just need to just figure it the fuck out.
Maybe that should be the episode title. Figure it the fuck out.
Truly.
This was so much fun.
No, it's such a
I
good
love
time.
having you on.
I love like just hearing other people's drama and then getting to speak on it.
I know it's
Me too.
nice, like
Great.
hot tea. Oh, some of these submissions though, they do get outrageous.
Yeah.
They're pretty gnar.
Yeah. I actually like I need to do a follow-up.
Me too.
With this one.
Same.
Let's just like schedule like a Zoom with this person and be like, tell us everything.
No, we need to. When Aram does his reach out to like let her know that her story was read and she gets the set, we need to say, you need to let us know what you do.
Yeah.
Like,
Please.
please follow up.
I'll come back. And
Yeah,
we can
okay,
do like
yeah.
a follow-up.
We'll debrief the
Because
follow-up.
I'm sure it's
yeah.
not gonna go well. Like, are you kidding me? You
Yeah,
think
we need to hear.
this man is literally like cheating on you in all regards. Like, it's
Yeah.
not gonna like.
She has some information on her hands that she needs to
Yeah.
get
Spill.
off. Yeah.
I'm like, if this is you, please follow me on Instagram and DM
DM
me
me.
immediately because I'm so invested.
Probably
in this.
will.
I hope they do.
Oh my God.
On that note, buckle up
Enjoy the ride.
and remember that boys lie. And girls do too.
Oh, they really do.
Boys lie. Boys lie.
Boys lie.
Boys lie. Boys lie, y'all.
Boys lie.
Them boys, they be lying.
Boys lie.